bit about Nova. She's a Contest 41. She was built in 1989 by Complex. They're a Dutch company over in Holland. She was designed by Dick Deal. She's cutter rigged, so it has staysail on the sloop. Wing keel on this one makes a 1.8 metre draft with a skeg hung rudder.
Hi guys, welcome to Living with the Tide. In this video we're going to go over Nova, who's our 41-foot contest, and we're going to talk a little bit about ourselves. So over to you, Matthew. Let's talk about you. Where are you from?
Clown. What a place.
So we're both from Nottinghamshire, Chesterfield area, from the UK. We decided to set sail and sell everything last year.
Yeah, well, it's when we went and we walked across Scotland. We decided we wanted more adventure, so we've decided to sell up, quit our jobs, buy the boat and sail off.
So we're going to talk about how we got Nova. It took us a while to find the right boat, and we're going to give you a little tour, so that's it.
We've been looking for a boat since July when we, after our walk. It took us a while to find Nova. Found her on a website, phoned up the broker, which is Ardvern Yachts. Unfortunately they told us there was a guy coming up from London to have a look. It'd be his third viewing, so they expected him to make an offer, which he did, but it was so low that the previous owner rejected it. So we went up, had a look, made a better offer, and he accepted it, and that's how we got Nova. Took us a while, but about I think it was the 6th of December we signed a contract and Nova was officially ours. We then spent the next couple of months till March going up at the weekends. It was quite a long drive from Midlands to work on it, and then eventually when I finished work I went up. We did most of the work then from March till April. Paige then finished her work a month after, came and joined me up there, and we set off, and that's the start of our adventure. So this is our bedroom. It's at the rear of the boat. It's owner's cabin because we're a centre cockpit yacht. Through here, Paige shows you, is our ensuite, which has got the power shower, which is actually quite a nice shower. Toilet. This one's the only one on board the boat that has a holding tank, so when we have visitors and we're at Anchorage they have to come, and Paige is upset because it's been put in her wardrobe right next to her head, so she does not like that. But that's the only place that they could fit it. It was already fitted. This isn't something I've done, but there is nowhere to fit them. These boats didn't come with them originally. The bed's quite nice. It's got springs underneath and slats. That's quite a nice added bonus. Underneath the bed in the bilge is where the rudder stock is, and the steering, which is solid bar steering, come through the bottom here and down to the rudder stock. And that's why if you look here there's a hole, and this is for our emergency tiller, so we can put it straight down through the bed into if the steering ever breaks. So this is the corridor leading from our bedroom into the saloon. Here in the side between the corridor and the shower is where my engine bay is, so if you'd like to come and have a look. So this is the engine bay. We've got the engine here, which is a Volvo Penta. It was originally 75 horsepower, but that was in 1989, so it's probably lost it. It was rebuilt in 2015, so it's not so bad, but it's still starting to show its age. Up here we've got the automated fire extinguisher we fitted. If it gets too hot, that should pop and spray powder everywhere and stop us from burning down. At the back here we've got the autopilot, which is this black box which is connected to the gearing of the solid steering there, and then at the bottom out the engine is the drive shaft going out to the prop. So now we're coming to the main saloon. The first thing we find is the most important part of the boat, which is my table. Here is my nav table. We've got my instrument panels here, all the lights, windlass, all the controls. The standard Horizon radios here, the HF radio, my iPad which connects up to my Raymarine, my handheld which is constantly on charge, along with my backup handheld, loads of random stuff, binoculars, stuff like that. Under here is where I keep my charts and all my parts for navigating. Here's the books I'm using at the time. So at the moment we're in Portugal, so there's my pilotage for Portugal, my Cruising Association's Olgamak and my tides for this area, and then all my instructions etc. for all the different instruments we've got on board. Stepping back quickly, Paige will have to swap with me, is this cupboard is where the main batteries are. Underneath the floor is the 460 amp hour main batteries, and the little one there is the engine battery. Also, this is the box that controls the mains coming in, and the regulator for the solar panels. Also at the back here is one of our fire extinguishers. I'm thinking about moving that one because if there's a fire in here, you're not going to be able to reach over and grab them. And of course the other main bit in here is all our life jackets, which are mine and Paige's. There's 2 spare ones, crew saver ones, which are the good ones, and then 2 cheaper ones in case we do have 6 people on board and they really need them. But it's mainly, I've never had that many.
Welcome to the galley. So this is where I spend my time. Matthew, unless, well, there's loads of waves, he spends his time in here. But anyway, this is mine. Here's the fridge. It's kind of big. It's kind of annoying as well because things slide around all the time, but it's alright. It's nice and it works again, so we're really happy with that. I have my stove, 3-ring burner, so that's alright. We have little clamps that go on when we're sailing, and it's on a gimbal so that it rocks around with the boat. Over here we have the little microwave for our Rustler's burgers on transit. Yeah, it's got Matthew's crumbs in it, but it's 500 watt and it can be run when we're not at a marina, so that's all good. We have, what else do I have in here?
All your books.
All my books. I know The Walking Dead isn't a cookbook, but I kind of need to get some more, so for now that's where it stays. I have all my pans and everything under here, cleaning products here, and this is Matthew's favourite cupboard, which is full of my crap, which has got lots of my dishes and stuff
Which
in it.
annoys me.
But other than that, we have a simple kitchen and lots of tea bags.
So a quick one to add on here, because it's right next to the gangway, is where the EPIRB, and the emergency anti-collision flare is, so you can grab it if needed. Also the fire blanket for the oven, though you can't see that very well because of the light. And we missed it, just down here is the other fire extinguisher.
And a tub of flares.
And then my flare tub with the rest of the flares, the emergency flares, and a few more anti-collision flares and some smokes. One
thing that we did fit in Plymouth as well was our water filter. So out of this tap, you have to pump it, so let me make sure it's undone. But this gives us nice clean water that comes straight through the filter.
If you open that cupboard there and we'll show them.
I'm sorry if this cupboard's a mess, it's my cleaning cupboard. There we go.
We've got all the cleaning products in here. What you should be able to see in the back corner there is the aqua filter. It's pumped into that pump. So it goes through a carbon filter, allowing the water to be nice, not taste like plastic, and takes out a lot of the nasty bacteria and etc. that we might get in foreign countries until we get a water maker. So this is the saloon where we spend and eat our food. If it's not really warm, and then we eat up on the in the cockpit. Underneath Paige's feet currently is the fuel tank, which is a 350 litre diesel tank, and under these two is my 750 litre stainless steel water tanks. Over here we have where we keep the alcohol, whiskies, especially my Talisker, if you remember from one of the episodes, buying that, still there. The TV, cupboards with random stuff in, this one with glasses. Behind the sofas and underneath the storage. Under this one is the immersion hot water tank and immersion heater. Behind the rest is just random space. I think this one has my cruising chute underneath. Same this side, space behind the sofas. Behind these sofas is all my spares and repairs stuff, including underneath. That one's got just random bits and bobs, and that one goes right into the bilge, so it's got all our dive kitting because it doesn't matter if it gets wet if we get a leak. Same under this one, it's just, I think currently it's got about 40 cans of carling in, thanks to Paige's dad. Over here we've got our bookcase. It's not a very big bookcase, but you see we've got pilot books and other bits and bobs on
Sailing for Dummies, because Matthew got me this for my birthday because I'm a noob at sailing, so that's my book.
So the other important bit over there is the orange rope is there for a reason. It's a quick throw rope, and it's there for if we ever need to quickly grab one and throw it. It's why it sits there. It's not that we're not put it away. We've got barometer and clock, And of course we've got Peter's scratch map, which she likes to scratch off. We're up to Portugal, which is where we are now. The next one she'll be scratching off is the Madeiras. We have 2 speakers here for the radio, the actual radio, like car radio, not the VHF. And this is a paraffin light. It does work, it's full, but we never use it because we're worried it's going to burn the roof. But if we did lose power, we can still have light. Oh, and this is my picture from when I was in the army. So, well,
we'll go take a close
regiment
for you. There we go.
This is our 4-peak. It's a spare bedroom, but when no one's living in it, we normally use it for storage. That's why it's a bit of a mess. Normally even gets messier, but because the dads were only here about a week ago, it's still in quite a good way. It's got its own heads, but this is the main one we'd use when sailing, etc., because you just come down here straight in. This one doesn't have a holding tank, it goes straight out into the sea, so you can't really use it when we're at anchorages. 4-peak splits into 2 single beds with lee boards, or we can move this up into the middle to make it 1 double bed. It's got its own wardrobes, etc., mainly with Paige's clothes in. Up in this corner, around the back, is where we keep our packs of DVDs and my drone. That's the inside and overdone. Now we'll go outside. So this is the main cockpit. We've got the wheel, compass on the binnacle, winch handle goes here. I've got a knife here in case we ever need to cut ropes, etc. This table flips up, and this is where we can have dinner or lunch. Over here we've got the instruments. We've got speed, compass, and wind direction and speed, and depth. USBs here, charging, that's all wired up. This is something to do with the depth for watching your anchor, but we've never been able to get it work properly, so we're not sure how it works, or there's no instructions for it. And when you look online, everybody else says they never use them, they can't work out how to use them either, so it's not a big thing. Here is the extension for my VHF, so it's plugged into my main VHF so I can use it up here. This is where the inReach is, so people can track us, especially the dads who never get off the damn thing. My chili plants are growing well, gloves and just storage back there. This is my Raymarine, and we fitted this in the winter. It's quite up to date, it's quite a nice bit of kit. It's helped, we can just see it from when we're steering. We did find that zooming in and out, I'd have to get Paige to do it, so Dave got us one of these, which is a control unit, lets me zoom in and out from the wheel. The only problem with these, if anyone does get one, is it needs 2 quad A batteries, which took us a long time to find. We've managed to find them in Porto, but it's taken us about 2 months to actually get them again when it did run out. Right. So under here, in the cockpit sole, is our little hatch, and this is where we keep our life raft. It weighs a bit, it is bolted with its pull cord onto this, so all you have to do is pull it out, throw it overboard, and it should inflate. It weighs a bit. Paige believes she won't be able to do it, but I think when she's got the adrenaline going, it'll be okay. Also, the yellow rope there is the handy billy, for in case someone falls overboard and knocks themselves out, if you need to be lifted back on board. It's a 6-to-1 purchase, so it gives you helps Paige to lift up my kind of weight. The anchor ball and cone are in there as well, the motoring cone. And underneath, all the other ropes are for the storm anchor that we can launch out the back. So in here, currently plugged in is the mains power. It plugs into there, which is the receiver for it. This is the engine, instruments and control. It's wet because I've just washed it all down, because we've not been in a marina for a while and everything got covered in salt, so I've just sprayed it all down. But the engine controls and engine hours. That side is my auto helm, so set the auto helm, can change the course, etc., so I don't have to steer personally.
Hang on, I think for you need to tell everyone why you hated that thing.
I hated it because it kept going its own way. You'd set it and then it would just turn on its own. Eventually I worked out what this was. Below it, in one of the cupboards, is a gimbaled compass. If it can't gimbal though, it means it jams, so we turn, it loses course, and the auto helm can't work out where it is. I found out why it was jamming. It was because Paige had filled the cupboard with her knickers. So the gimbal wasn't working, it kept sending us. Now we fixed it by removing Paige's knickers off it, and it all works perfect. This is the main sheet on the boom. That's where we control, and we've got the runner for it here. These are two main four sheet winches, which are for the foresail, and then the staysail winches at the back, but they also get used for the running backstay and other bits and bobs whenever we may need them. There's the main winch with the the manual furling system, as we've got in-mass roller reefing. So at the stern we've got a spare main halyard. We've got my dam buoy, which is the floating thing Paige has to chuck to me if I fall in.
It's really heavy.
It is quite heavy, it extends quite far. The outboard here gets left here, locked on when we're not using it. This is my hydro vane, which is another self-steering unit. This one just using wind, so it can be used to save power when we're sailing mainly. This adjusts from this line here, so you can see it moves around. It's got its own rudder. Also can be used as an emergency rudder as well by disconnecting it all. It'll turn when you knock this pin out, and then you can turn, and that's in case I lose my main rudder or something bad like that. The red ensign, we can use a blue ensign being members of the Cruising Association, but I've just decided to stay with the red. Kedge anchor here set up ready with its own spool of line ready to go. Fishing rod on its mount, and the two GPS mushrooms for the GPS down on my desk and my AIS. Here we've got the two solar panels. They're both 100 watt. They fold up like so. We fitted these in Plymouth just before we left. They're not up at the moment because we're on the main, so they're not much point, but they do work quite well. They're down at the moment. Here we've got the gas locker, which has got two gas cylinders inside, and then I put petrol in that. This is it's sealed from the rest of the boat, so that if the gas leaks it can't get into where we're all sleeping, etc. So it's good for putting other gases in, etc. This one's just random storage. It's where we keep all our warps and bits and bobs, buckets. And our sicky bucket. Yeah, sicky bucket, which Dagley's favourite. And my dad's. And your dad's now, yes, yeah. He's joined you, Dagley, don't worry. He managed to make the mistake of throwing up. So we'll go forwards now and have a look up front. So this is our mast. It's about 17 metres high, and it's a big chunk of aluminium. We've got the main here, which is roller reefed into the mast, and that's this block here. On the front here we've got the Spinnaker Pole, which is all fixed, ready to go, quite easy to use. And we've got two winches either side, one either side, the winches for tightening up halyards. Spare halyards, I've got the uplift for the Spinnaker Pole, a Spinnaker halyard, and also around the other side I've got a spare, this green and white, it's a spare halyard for the foresail, and then of course the halyards that are on there at the moment. Here we've got the tender. This is where I leave it when it's not inflated. And it's probably the worst thing we've ever bought. It's not been very good, that. It's already falling apart. Just shown by the build quality. They've not even used stainless buckles. You think they would have used stainless, but they haven't. And it's not even a year old. No. Here I carry my spare cans, so diesel and water. That's my lobster pot I brought in Plymouth. Not been able to use it much, but it's got us a couple of lobsters and crabs and stuff, so we're happy with that. Up front's our anchor locker. It's a Spade 1D20, or is it a 120D? I can't remember. It's 120D. I think it came at about 50 pounds in weight, but we took it to, it was rusted when we brought the boat, so we took it to be galvanised. Unfortunately the galvanising company decided to take all the lead out of it, as they were worried it was going to explode under the pressure or something like that. So when we got it back, we had to refill it with lead, so I'm not sure what weight it is. I believe it's around 50 to 55 pounds, which is a good weight. It's got this spin connection here, and then we've got 50 metres of 10mm chain.
So this is also my other job. I have to hook everything on because I lost a rope overboard. That's Matthew likes to remind me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I always clip this on. This is how we let the chain down. So I go in here. I always have to do this because our chain kind of jams. You always hook this on. This is another thing you hook on, else it might fall on your head. So in
Stop
here,
that from.
yeah, in here we've got all of our chain, which
One
is.
moment. Just needs to focus because of the light change.
Yeah.
There you are.
So there's all my chain. Sometimes I have to pull it out, but obviously not when the windlass is on because you might get your fingers trapped.
There's the motor for the windlass at the bottom there.
In here we also have my best friend, which is Mr. Chum.
There he is. He's my best friend.
He's
Mr.
actually
Chum.
a lot easier now. We've started to use the soft shackle on him, which is here. And then this is my snubbing line for when we're at anchor because it's a stronger line. And this is my snubbing line when I'm not at anchor, but I haven't put it on today. We also have other bits in here which I'll let Matthew talk to you about.
I've got a spare 45-pound CQR anchor and also a spare kedge anchor down there.
Is that down here?
Yeah, that's down there. And then there's some other warps and little buoy, hose pipe. This is also where our deck wash is, which you've probably seen in the other movies was hopeless, so it doesn't get much use.
And Matthew has kindly written on here, it is coming off, where how deep each of my colours is, because he kept telling me to let out 5 metres when we didn't have any markers and it was, well, I was useless, so.
It was confusing.
To let down our anchor, you have to shove this in. I'm not going to do it because we're obviously in thingy, and then I'd pull it really hard to this way and that releases the anchor. If you push it up, it releases more, push it down, it slows the chain, and then you just tighten it off. And then we also have this little brake which you can shove into there, and that wouldn't let any of the anchor down.
It just stops it from running.
And we also have my, ooh, let me open
Do it by hand.
There we go. That's my pressel for bringing up the anchor. It does mean that Matthew can't bring up the anchor on his own very easily because there isn't another way to bring it up apart from this.
No, we could do with putting a remote in, which is possible. We have to wire it in. We'd be able to put a remote on at the wheel, but we haven't needed one, so we haven't gone through that trouble.
And that's the anchory bit done. Our favourite bit.
So this is our foresail. It's a 135% Genoa. It looks a bit loose. We've had the rigging checked because of that. It's because there's so much canvas on there, it weighs a ton. This is our staysail, much smaller, but it allows us when we're close hauled to use all of the canvas, or in a bad weather we can just get the staysail out, which is much smaller. And I guess those run cars there. These are the cars where the staysail sheet comes down to, and then the car for the foresail is the long one there, so we can adjust when it's reefed in.
And the best thing about our contest is it has a massive deck. I mean, it's huge. If we didn't have our tender on there, I originally had a hammock that was connected to the mast and to the foresail.
Yeah.
But Matthew took off the spreader bars and it collapsed and broke when Matthew sat on it. So unfortunately we don't have a hammock anymore, but we still have a beautiful deck.
This here we've got on the side is a quick release boat hook for when we need it. If we need to pick anything up like a dropped fender or a mooring buoy, it's easy to get to.
And that's our tour of Nova. So let's show you around here a second. The weather's amazing. We're in sunny Portugal.
So that was our tour around Nova. Hope you enjoyed it. Any questions or any bits we may have missed, please ask. Give us a like and a subscribe, help us get it off the ground. Go watch the rest of our videos. Hopefully you'll enjoy them. Also, anything you think we can improve on, let us know, as we still are learning and still trying to get going.